Ronna McDaniel stepping back into the spotlight with this mission to turn a key swing state reliably red. Former chair of the Republican National Committee who stepped down last year, teaming up now with Michigan's well-known DeVos family to lead what they're calling the Michigan Forward Network, organization working to support Republican candidates on the ballot. Let's find out more about it now. Former RNC chair joins us, Ronna McDaniel. Welcome back, Ronna. So, is that Michigan is is the swing state, right? It's as purple as they come. But how do you make a state like that, quote unquote, reliably red? What are one or two key initiatives you'll take on with this group?
Well, the recognition that there's no longer just an election year, it's an election cycle. We have to be here long term. This is going to be an infrastructure that's here that's going to build and grow as we focus on keeping Michigan red. The first goal this cycle is going to be how do we keep the House, the state House, and win back the state Senate and the legislature. That's the first goal. But also, how do we communicate what the Democrats are doing, the failures of the Democrats, and really taking them on? And that's not a cycle-to-cycle or election year goal. That's got to be a permanent infrastructure, and that's what Michigan Forward is going to be.
Are there specific issues that you think resonate more specifically in Michigan than nationally? In other words, that would help Republican candidates that work in that state?
Yes, Connell. I think the most egregious stat is that only 1 out of 4 fourth graders right now are proficient in reading in the state of Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer and Democrats have rolled back every common sense safeguard for our kids. And we all know education is the pathway to success in this country. And to only have 1 out of 4 fourth graders proficient in our state is egregious. As Gretchen Whitmer is courting the national stage and looking at a run for president, we want to hold her accountable and repudiate not just her, but also Democrats across the state. That is an abysmal failure. They should not be allowed to hold any office in our state.
So what will you push for? More state control? Is it more choice, more charter schools? Like, what are you pushing for on education then in Michigan?
Well, certainly standards. So they repealed a 3rd grade reading standard that was put in place by a previous governor that said you can't pass on if you can't read past the 3rd grade. You know, you can't read to learn if you can't learn to read. And that's an accountability measure that we need in our state. We need metrics. We need transparency. We need to hold our educators responsible. So all of those safeguards have been stripped by Democrats who are beholden to the unions. And we've got to be focused on the kids. And it's more than that, Connell. What family's going to move to our state if they don't think their kids can get a good education? So all of this leads to that, on top of the fact that Gretchen Whitmer has increased government spending by 43% since she's been in Lansing. Jobs are fleeing our state. We have the 2nd highest unemployment in the country. We know that if we bring conservative policies to our state, we're a state that's going to thrive and go forward.
On a separate issue, would you say anything about this terror attack recovery today in Boulder, Colorado? I mean, I know certainly the war in Gaza was a big political issue in Michigan the last time around. We're about to go live to this court appearance for the suspect. What would you say about that, if anything, today?
Well, I think the Trump administration has rightly labeled this a hate crime. I mean, this was a pro-Israel rally. People were targeted. They were attacked. They were injured. And you've got to call it for what it is. And hate crime should not be allowed. We've done this with our Congress, taking on these big institutions like Harvard and others. We need to label hate speech as what it is and as what it is. And that's certainly something that's important here in Michigan on our college campuses, but in our communities as well.
All right. Again, we're going to cover that live when it happens. Let me ask you, if I can ask you just one blatantly political question. I'm just curious. You mentioned the Trump administration. So when you left the RNC, as opposed to now, because if you're going to have success in pushing this organization forward, I'm curious, what's your relationship like right now? What would you say with the president and with members of his team? I mean, he says some stuff about a lot of people. I think for you, he's like, oh, she's in Never Never Land after you left the RNC. I was reading that earlier today, something like that. What's it like now? And will you be able to use that relationship to your advantage in running this organization?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to the president when he won this election. We had a great conversation. I was at inauguration. Obviously, I've always been supportive of Trump and Republicans up and down the ticket. That doesn't change. And I think we're going to have a great relationship. This is not a federal organization. This is state focused. It's state legislative focused. You're going to have Senate committees come in and others come in for our open Senate seat and RGA come in for our open governor seat. But I think we have to recognize we need more people on the playing field helping Republicans win, not less. And we have a great relationship going forward.
All right, Ronna, good to see you again. And good luck with this. We'll follow it. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, Connell.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.